Hello and welcome to Rauta's Heavy Metal Review. Ronnie James Dio has been dead for a long time, yet long live Dio. Why? Well, that's exactly the question I wanna answer with this review. Well, let's not bring back the dead, but this album is one of the reasons why heavy metal never dies. May I present you Professor Emeritus and Take Me to the Gallows. This is the first album by this American band, but by no means these guys are new nor young, so this is kind of a veteran bands. Some of the bands, have been there out for some time, like Satan's Hollow, Ancient Dreams, and Moros Nux. So you need to hear some name dropping that it is. So this is the debut album, and here's the cover as well the backside of the album. Inside we have lyrics, which is quite nice and plain. And here's the backside of the CD track list, only 7 songs, but let me tell you, this is a real full-length album. And even the CD continues to have this same visual thing. So No Remorse Records have released Professor Emeritus album, and now I got to check the name. MP Papai is the name of the vocalist here, which reminds me so much of Ronnie James Dio that I almost managed to shit my pants. And that is a one hell of a good thing, because heavy metal so often relies on very good vocalist that is capable of doing high and low and having this kind of a charisma, good voice, and especially able to be go through the songs and even carry the weight of those songs when the basic riffing is not that strong to make an impact. Now, it's clear that this band is filled with sort of veterans, because they know very well what they're doing. And even though this is a kind of a basic heavy metal album, it's not one of those retro bands trying to, offer you some leftovers with some modern kind of a production and then some. To me, this album is actually better than some of the veterans or some of the retro bands are doing, and not just because of the vocalist, but because of the songwriting and riffs, and the overall production is just so well done. The thing is that these guys are basically creating nothing new here, and there is nothing wrong as long as the songs are this good. But I must say that without this skilled, or let's say highly talented vocalist, as in this case, this album would lose quite a bit of its charisma. But the thing is that Mr. Papai is very good in what he does, and like I said, he is carrying much of the weight here, and that alone is something why you should check this album. Now, if you think bands like Iron Maiden or Judas Priest, they too have excellent singers in the band, and that should be kind of a proof that even with a good singer you cannot do the impossible, that is, make a good album out of mediocre riffs. But the good news is that Professor Emeritus is, in my opinion, better than these classic veteran bands when it comes to creating a good album, even though the elements are very basic and kind of a million times heard before. However, this album, Take Me to the Gallows, is not an exceptional case. It's more like one of those nice to hear, but something that isn't that instantly hitting your brain with those kind of songs which are so memorable. You are, basically whistling them through in months to come after you give this one an initial spin. I think, however, that this album is rather good than just basic, mediocre, nice, yeah, being there, done that kind of thing. But it's lacking some magical that would actually make this album, being the album of the year stuff. However, if you are into traditional heavy metal and you don't mind that some of those ideas might seem like recycled or heard 1,000 times before, this is something you should strongly consider listening through. This is a nice album, and just the vocal works by themselves, that is just a good excuse to check this one out. Now, if you're into heavy metal, why don't you click the band links in the comment box below and or above the comment box and check out the band for yourself. Should you have any comments, ideas, opinions, disagreements, or whatever, just put them on the box below and let's get the conversation going on. Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to subscribe the video, and as always, more stuff coming your way. This is all from Rauta. Remember to stay metal and listen to good heavy metal.